Advice number 1. Most of you will find partners if you don't already have them. Wives and husbands, boyfriends and girlfriends, a roommate, a good friend, a cherished dog, cat, hamster, something. Here's a piece of advice for how to get along with this significant other. The world can be divided into 2 kinds of things. The things your partner cares about and everything else. Your partner is in charge of the things they care about, and you are in charge of everything else, or as I like to call it, what really matters. Now, what's crucial to remember is that these 2 sets do not overlap at all. If my wife cares about it, by definition, it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter, then I shouldn't make any problems about it. Almost the only time we get into disputes, they stem from my forgetting the fact that those 2 sets I described to you earlier, what she cares about and everything else, are discrete. Now, I know that some of you are wondering, what if my partner suddenly starts deciding some things matter that didn't used to matter to them? For instance, what if my wife suddenly gets interested in my CD collection and begins rearranging things? Well, at that moment, you are going to have to learn to trust that partner. Trust that they won't encroach so far on the things that really matter that a dispute ensues. Indeed, over time, you may find, in the interest of harmony, that the things that matter is a smaller set than you originally thought. You will have to have faith in your partner, and of course it works both ways. Advice number 2. Some of you are already following it. Always bring reading material. Always. Reading material is like an umbrella. If you don't bring an umbrella, it is bound to rain. If you forget to bring something to read, you are bound to be behind the person with 15 complaints at the courtesy counter, or stuck in traffic, or trapped in an elevator. Reading material inoculates you against these minor inconveniences of life. Of course, it does much more than that. It also renews your spirit, opens you up to other lives, other ideas. I know I'm verging on cliche here, but this piece of advice is important for number 3, so bear with me. I always tell TAs who work for me that they must find a little time somewhere every day to read for pleasure, to remind themselves that there is a life of the mind outside of work, outside of grading, outside of school, and most crucially, a life outside of themselves. Reading does that. And more, it gives you hope, makes it easier to carry on. This is true not only for TAs, but regular citizens like yourselves. Final piece of advice. I spoke to a graduating student a few days ago, and she confided in me that she was always scared in Hume 4 that I would force her to stand up in front of the whole class and recite the second formulation of the categorical imperative.
Oh, God.
For those of you in the audience, that's a concept from the philosopher Immanuel Kant's grounding of the metaphysics of morals. It says that we should strive to treat others as subjects, not objects. What does that mean? Well, we all think of ourselves as subjects, as the star of the film of our life. And in thinking that, it is very easy to think about everyone else we meet as a bit player, a mere extra. Over time, more and more people we know can seem supporting actors. What's important to remember is that everyone does this. Everyone is a star in the movie of their life, and to them, you are the hopeless extra. And if you can remember that fact, you might remember to treat them as a subject with hopes and dreams, just as you have them. Admittedly, it can be hard to think of the barista at the coffee shop or the mechanic fixing your car this way. But love demands nothing less. And that's really what the second formulation of the categorical imperative calls us to. Love others. So there they are, 3 pieces of advice. Those of you who have been paying attention will have noticed by now that I've stolen them from St. Paul. Faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is, well, you know. And as long as I'm borrowing, allow me to borrow my closing from a scene in a film by Giuseppe Tornatore, Cinema Paradiso. In that film, a mentor figure speaks with a young man who is about to leave home to make his way in the world. Here's what the mentor says to him, and I say it to you now. Get out of here. You're young.
Amen.
The world is yours, and I'm old. I don't want to hear you talk anymore. I want to hear others talk about you. Congratulations, class of 2009. I hope we hear about you soon. Thank you.